I know a lot of fans are definitely interested in end of season 3. Dick Grayson kind of announces this road trip that you guys are going to be taking off on. Is that kind of where you hope season 4 kicks off?
I think that's the idea, mate, that we create not a road show per se in season 4, but more travel elements in the season. We break away at the end of season 3, break away from Gotham, and I know Greg Walker, the showrunner, and a lot of the creators and writers wanted to continue that momentum from season 3, as opposed to just starting in a new room and starting in from scratch. I think they want to continue that storyline on the road and a little bit of a road show, getting to our destination where we'll settle for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, what are your personal hopes for season 4, and what do you know so far?
There's roadshow elements to be implemented in the first couple of episodes. I know that we're going to be away from Gotham. We're making room for some of the other characters in that universe to fill Gotham with their superhero-ness. And that's it. I mean, my hopes are, every season, my hopes are, lay in the villain. I hope that we get a strong villain. I know we will. I'm just kind of, hanging to find out who it is and who's going to play the villain. Because essentially the villain, makes up, kind of allows us to shine our brightest colors. And, a strong villain allows us to, as an audience, the believability of, the Titans may not make it through this time. And, season 3, we had a character, die to kind of really instill the idea that the stakes are high and people die in this game. So season 4, I can only hope that, we get a strong villain who, poses a lot of challenges to us and creates these obstacles that we have to kind of work around and work as a team to get through.
Do you have any hopes that you'll end up being in a Nightwing solo series, a Nightwing solo movie, anything like that? Would you be open to that idea?
I'd love to continue playing Dick Grayson as Nightwing, in any platform. But for now, I think this is the platform that we've kind of spent 3 seasons creating, and this is what's working for the character at the moment. There are elements of Dick Grayson that are very collaborative and that are very individual, So depending on what point in his life and what story we were to tell, if we were to do something else, would have to be, I guess, showing a different side of him, showing he's the collaborative leader in this TV series. Perhaps down the track he kind of gets off track and becomes a little bit more selfish, individual, and solo in his fighting tactics.
In season 3, Bruce Wayne told you to be a better Batman. A lot of people were kind of wondering, will Nightwing become the next Batman? It's been seen in comics before. Any chance you think that'll happen?
There is definitely a chance that could happen, because I feel like Titans is a great property, a great platform where anything can happen. I've joked before about us all flying up to Tamaran, and hanging out up in Tamaran for a little bit. That could happen. There's so many different worlds and different characters that represent different locations and different realms, where I feel like, anything can kind of happen, in season 4 and 5. However, I think that, season 3 was representing that somewhat. He says, be a better Batman. And I wasn't like transforming into Batman or, as per the comics, putting on the Batman suit, but I was definitely taking over the role of, the leader and the superhero in Gotham. So I think to be a better Batman was more of a metaphor for, if I'm doing this so poorly, you try save the city this time. And he succeeded at that. So I think that's more of what that was representing. But can that happen in the future? There's definitely a possibility. I feel like season 3 was a little change in the formula. We had a little bit more segmented storylines, which allowed for characters that would not normally talk to each other and work together to go off and have their own little storylines. I think that was one of the things we learned from season 2, when we had a lot of people working together in the same room and all of us fighting the same crime at the same time. the same crime at the same time. Um, Superboy, I think, has a whole wealth of storyline in him, you know, with that kind of good and evil playing in his head. And I've always loved how Josh has played that. So I think there's definitely legs in that storyline. And, you know, with Raven, she had a kind of a more of a subdued storyline last season. So perhaps season 4 is her chance to kind of have a little bit more of a storyline and see that demon character in her develop and see her control over that and what power that has. So with those two characters in mind, we better have a villain that can, you know, compete against, you know, a confident Raven and a powerful Superboy.
You know, in times past, talking about Connor, Superboy a little bit, you mentioned how he's one of your favorite characters on the show. What do you want to see explored in his character? Do you possibly even want to see Lex Luthor and Superman even coming into the mix here and getting involved in his storyline a little bit?
Totally, that would be awesome. And if not that, some representation of that. You know, we talk about that a little bit in season 3 with Superboy, or he talks about it with a few characters. So it is mentioned, but to see some kind of development from that, I think would really enhance. I mean, one thing that I thought worked really well was the idea that Dick had to go and get kryptonite to subdue Superboy, you know, because he knew that he was very powerful. And just kind of, you know, developing that storyline a little bit and, you know, putting a little bit of sprinkle dust on that to expand, you know, what would that look like? What would the Titans look like if we had a character that was as powerful as Superboy switching from, you know, extreme evil to compliance? So I just thought that would be an interesting thing for our, you know, interesting dynamic for our team. However, you know, that may foreshadow or that may overshadow, you know, a villain that is super powerful. So it depends on what kind of villain they decide to use in season 4. If it's a great villain and a powerful villain that we all know, then, you know, maybe there's no room for Josh to be switching into, you know, into the most evil, powerful person in the world. But
who are some future characters that you would like to see in season 4?
We've picked up our crew and we're on the road. So I can only hope that we develop those storylines in the, you know, for all the people in the bus. So there's Tim Drake, who is played by Jay Lycurgo, who does a great job of, you know, playing that younger character who's obsessed with, you know, becoming a superhero and has done all the reading and the research and really wants to join the crew. And, you know, throughout the season has proven himself time and time again and gets asked to come along on the ride with the Titans. So I feel like that's an interesting storyline to follow because, you know, we all know that his trajectory in the comic books is quite a cool story and one that I feel like would be, you know, would fit really well in the Titans. The dynamic between Dick becoming a better leader and a better teacher, what kind of Robin is he gonna form with Tim Drake, or is he going to become Robin, or does he leave? And you know, so that's kind of an interesting starting point. And from there, it's Titans that we've all seen before. Like, you know, we've got Raven, Superboy, Starfire, all, you know, on this road trip to see what characters would collaborate with us in more of a ally sense, as an ally. There's mention of Roy Harper and Argus, and a lot of the fans really want, yeah. So, you know, it's without saying too much, I don't know, like, yeah, I can only wait and see what they're gonna do. But the character that I'm kind of hanging out for is the villain. Who is the villain in season 4?
And do you have any hopes? Like, are there any villains that pop to your mind of like, oh man, that would be awesome?
Well, it's funny because I'm trying to detach myself from the films and the film world of DC at the moment.
Right.
And, you know, there's a kind of a natural tendency to not want to do a repeat, to have an original villain. But whatever we decide to structure around the villain, whatever kind of infrastructure we put around him or her or them is going to be successful. You know, for example, in season 1, we had not necessarily super villains, but villains who were just fantastic. The nuclear family presented such a threat, and just a unique danger to the Titans, and it was because of the writing and the story that was kind of supporting these characters and their unique powers. And so I think that, whatever villain we choose to insert into the story just needs the same kind of attention, the same rules in their powers and the danger they kind of present to the Titans. But in saying that, I would like to see the Riddler in season 4. There's a scene in the vault, Batman's vault, where I look for a book or something, Crane's book of poems, and there's little trinkets and captured pieces of, there's an umbrella, there's like all these different things, and the Riddler was teased in that scene. So I looked at that and went, I wonder if we can do the Riddler in season 4.
What are you kind of working on now? Anything that you can shed some light on? I know obviously you got some facial hair going on. Your hair's a little longer, so you don't really look like Dick Grayson in season 3.
I'm working on.
Is this the longest you've ever had it, you think, or have you had it way, way longer?
Mate, I've had it way longer. I think in Pirates it was down to here.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I need a shave. I know everyone's kind of, my moustache has got more likes than me. My moustache has got more followers than me and more death threats. So, mate, I'm just, honestly, I'm just kind of reading a lot, reading scripts, reading books. I'm doing a little bit of writing, trying to get back into that mode of creating my own stuff. It's a tricky time. Obviously, in Australia, we had a big, as soon as I got back, we had a big blowout of coronavirus. So our industry stopped a little bit here. Yeah. There was a few local movies that I was going to do that got postponed. So I think it might conflict with season 4. So it's just, it's a big, in terms of working as an actor, it's a big juggling act on, when movies are going to go, because obviously I can't conflict with Titans.